Rings in Aries, burn it down. I call the planets to the ground. You'll taste every curse you gave me back. I'm dancing vengeance in the dark. Your shadow screaming in the sparks. I pull your future off its track. Rings in Aries, strike and crack.
Hello again. I'm back to talk about this upcoming new moon that will be happening in Aries. This new moon in Aries is really quite the trigger for Aries season to really get set off as if it hasn't already. And I think that looking at this chart, I've been considering that we haven't really quite seen anything yet. Honestly, this is when, um, a lot is going to be actually happening, not just in the psychological realm, but in the physical realm as well. Because all the planets, no, almost all the planets, not all of them, but almost all the planets will be in Aries. And Chiron has been waiting for this moment for a long time. Chiron got into Aries in 2018, and then in 2019 it was finally in Aries. And ever since then, we have been dealing with wounds that are around like our self-identity, our independence, even our borders, uh, lots of um, a lot of issues that have been rising up with regards to like wounding with especially the self-image, the self-awareness, self-identity, really. So this new moon is the moment that Chiron has really been waiting for because the new moon is going to be conjunct this Chiron and with a loaded zodiac. The Aries is completely loaded with all the fun people, all the fun planets. Honestly, in astrology, they're the malefics. They're in Aries, and I don't want to be alarmist. I don't want to sensationalize this information either, because you could easily take this information and say that it's all over and this is the end that we have been waiting for. The end is coming. Um, but honestly, it's just the beginning because the end has already happened. We've already really been through the end. And so we're actually coming into a very potent new beginning. And I want to say this is a very good time to start something new, even though you might be afraid that this is the end of everything. That's going to be the real challenge that all of us individually are going to be facing, is that it's actually a really good time to start something, especially if it's in the healing field, because of this new moon being conjunct Chiron, the wounded healer. And so, if you're somebody who has been doing a lot of work with regards to healing yourself, then starting something new is really what is lying in wait for you. And you'll be feeling it. So, it's not something that I say and then you have the idea. This is something that's already been happening. It's already a feeling that you've been happening. Um, it's really actually a beautiful time. So I don't want to uh, run away with how frightening all of this can look like. A hair in my mouth. I always have hairs in my face. Uh, life happens. I love it. So, what was I saying about Aries? Oh, just that it's a really wonderful time to be thinking about starting something new. Aries season is a good time to start something new. And Mercury is finally out of retrograde, out of the shadow, in the clear, and in a beautiful position to be having lots of ideas, and you'll be very inspired to take action on all of this new opportunity um, that is it's going to be quite striking, actually, how much opportunity yeah, opportunity, because there's a lot of sextiles going on in this chart also. So, okay, here. I will get you. All right, I got it. Okay, I'm going to pull up the chart now. I just wanted to talk a little bit before I brought up the chart because this is really, this chart is so condensed in this area of Aries. And I know that it seems frightening for those of us who know something about astrology. It's like, wow, like how could war not be happening during this time? Honestly, we have all of this Aries energy, and Mars is in Aries for this new moon, and we have Mercury in Aries, Saturn, Neptune. That's been a big deal talking about energy in Aries. This Neptune in Aries uh is gonna be staying here for a while. And the ending that I was talking about, the end that we have already been through, was really truly with Neptune finalizing in Pisces just recently. And now that Neptune is in Aries, yes, it's frightening how different the world became almost instantly. But it is evolutionary, and it does have to do with our spiritual journey. Um, it is we're having a new idea, we're having a new dream come into our being about spirituality. and what signifies that it's new and different as opposed to last time when it was the Civil War. Um, See, that in itself says something. Was it We all know from what we've been taught that in the Civil War, people's minds were changing. Things, belief systems were changing. And that was really what a lot of the fighting was about. And about imagined resources. And we've got all of these planets in Aries now, currently, for this new moon, that is really adding that exclamation point to Neptune's entrance into Aries, because it wouldn't be quite as intense if all of those planets weren't there with Neptune in Aries. That is what is adding to the intensity. And you'll probably be experiencing very intense dreams with messages about being the sacred warrior individually. These types of dreams that people have about like saving the world, right? It's a very masculine archetype, and those dreams usually happen within the masculine mindset. And those are the messages. We've been having those messages come through for a long time. And I believe that it's time to pay attention, not, and again, I don't want to sensationalize this too much because it's really actually real. Because Saturn is there in Aries as well, making all of this very real. So, one of the um, things to remember about the archetype of Aries, other than war, because that's really just like a shadow aspect, um, is that the light side to that is being the sacred warrior that defends the cosmic order, because we're at the beginning of the zodiac, whereas at the end, we were letting go of a lot of order. A lot of the construct was breaking apart, and that is the true evolutionary aspect to Pisces. Um, and we still have the North Node there in Pisces, so we'll still be experiencing and witnessing how there is a like pulling apart, or the idea that boundaries can be penetrated and changed, and that they're not fixed. We'll get there because those will change into Aquarius and Leo, and it'll be a whole different evolutionary game when that happens. And it'll be a lot more um, foundational structure to that axis. But this axis of Pisces and Virgo, and it is all about losing boundaries, and losing letting go of things, routines that just don't work. And coming back into the Aries energy, um, the Aries energy here is really aggressively asking us to let go of what doesn't work aggressively because you have to have, time is not infinite. Time is like the box that we live in as a human being, and the time that we have here is finite, not infinite. So, in order to start something new, you have to let go of something that isn't working because we just don't have enough time in the day to achieve more than what we can. And we, as humans, can only do what we can do. We're running into that with this new moon. We're running into that reality, that realization that time is finite and we have to do something new at now, right now. The agency, the urgency, that is, the urgency is very peaking during this new moon. During this new moon, you will get very strong uh urges to like throw away the old and dive into the new because Aries is really quite compulsive. And with Mars there, right there in Aries, and with the new moon conjuncting Chiron, there might be this realization that your wounding has been holding you back and that you have been acting out your whole life from your wounds. And when that happens, the tendency to feel like you want to dramatically like throw it all away and start over new, that is um very strong energy coming in right now for a lot of us. We'll be seeing people wanting to sell their homes and just want to go off grid. And essentially, fear, yes, will be driving these decisions because um, ultimately the antagonist to Aries is fear. Fear is what drives Aries to evolve to survive. Um, because Aries is very much focused on survival. And when survival comes to the forefront, sometimes this is the moment when we see things clearly and we hadn't seen them clearly before. And this is one of the reasons why I was talking about Neptune at the beginning of this, is because Neptune has been fogging our vision for years while it's been in Pisces, but we've been comfortable with that. We've been very content with the illusion that Pisces has been providing for us with Neptune there at home, just floating through life. But now that Neptune has reached Aries, a new start. We have a whole new start that we're facing. And the realization that we've just been floating through life with no real aim, no purpose, um, that might become very clear during this new moon because it just feels like I want to warn people. It might feel like a slap in the face, this new awareness, but it's meant to inspire you to become new. Um, might be sort of like a dark time. Obviously, the new moon is when we can't see the moon, and it is darkness. And during this time in Aries, going into the dark, snuffing out that fire to move through the dark for the new moon, there might be themes of fear coming up. Um, yeah, yeah, because the uh, our wounded egos are, you know, it looks like a trigger for our wounds, and our egos will really try to like control, run the show for us. So the new thing, the the new thing that is coming that it's hard to say this because it's just like in this idea that I have, but it's coming through many of us psychologically that we need to face our fears in order to become brave, in order to gather the courage that we need to move through this darkness. Um, instead of like running away from the monster, we turn around and we face it. And this is a very potent moment for that. Because again, that's what the archetype of the sacred warrior does, is not running away, but facing with strength, with decisiveness, with like you've decided that you're going to gather your strength and gather your courage in order to face the darkness. Whatever that darkness is for you, it is very individual for this new moon in Aries. It's going to be very much about your individual self, your identity, your ego. If you watch what your ego does during this time, you'll have a big clue as to what it is that you need to heal. And none of us are perfect. And so all that we really need to do is just have a little bit of um, hindsight, even to look at our actions and see, uh, where what door is opening up for an opportunity to like receive messages about your new path. Um, because your ego might really be attached to like what you've been doing your whole life, because obviously you're comfortable there. Um, it takes work to become more conscious of things, but the awareness is blooming just naturally. And that's the nice thing about this chart is that all of this Aries energy is going to be like high definition vision, like laser focus. That's what it's going to feel like compared to what we've been feeling. And yeah, um, the this Aries season, this Aries new moon as the peak moment of Aries season because it's like right as Aries season is kind of leaving in the later degrees here. So, um, it really has this feeling of like there's going to be a lot of clearing the air out there, and especially with Mercury and Mars and Saturn all coming together. Mercury is probably going to blurt shit out. Yeah, that's probably what we can all expect individually. You may just like have had it, Saturn and Mars together. And they're considered the malefics in astrology. But beyond that, what is the evolutionary aspect of them coming together and sort of blowing the lid off of everything? It's because things have gotten stale and uh, things don't necessarily grow very good in a stale environment. We need more air, and that's where Mercury comes in with the airing out. Um, that's where we're using language that seems like it's over the top, probably. Yeah, yes, most likely. And some high risk behavior going on. That will be something that we all individually face. And what does that mean for you? And what purpose does that serve for you? Is it actually evolutionary to take risks? Is it actually going to make you feel like a braver or more courageous person, or are you just going to feel like a dumbass? That's something to consider when you're gathering your courage and you feel like you're just going to say what you feel. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with saying how you feel. There's nothing wrong with feeling how you feel. Um, but again, the the fact that we're dealing with Aries and Mars energy means that we all need to watch out for the action that we're taking. Is the action that we're taking going to be like a committed action, like for committing to the higher good, also known as the cosmic order? Are you going to be a defender, a sacred warrior for the cosmic order? Or are you going to be competitive for no reason, wanting to win the fight with no real purpose beyond that? If you're just fighting to fight, then, that's when we take a look at Neptune here and say, like, is there a higher purpose to this action that we're feeling like we need to take? Because there is all kinds of opportunity happening to summon our courage, which is awesome. It's evolutionary. It's soul work to be courageous. Um, and one of the very wonderful things that can come out of all of this Aries energy is being more self-aware. That is something that takes commitment. So this comes around full circle to um, the Neptune aspect. This Neptune being in Aries, Neptune's going to be there. So this is really um the weight of where the weight lands. Not just Neptune, but also with Chiron. Because Chiron has been there. Chiron's been waiting for this moment, you know? Our wounds are actually what make us beautiful. It's what makes us human, relatable, grounds us, and unites us. Because admitting that we are imperfect with these wounds, it can be vulnerable. And being self-aware enough of your wounds so that you can see when you're um, acting from those wounds is really a good step um, forward evolutionarily. And your ego can take a bit of a backseat if you can manage that. That's it's a lot to ask of a lot of people, but it's also been prophesized for a long time that a great awakening, a spiritual awakening, was going to happen at some point. So I'm not saying that everybody's going to be spiritually awakened all of a sudden, but it is a very potent opportunity right now to tap into an awakening process because we've got Pluto in a sextile. Oh, I'm not sure what just happened over there, but again, life happens. And so, yes, the sextile over here from the Neptune, sorry, Uranus. See, I got all distracted just now, but that's fine. It's totally cool. Which one is it going to? Hmm. Hmm. Said, yeah. Mercury and Saturn. Mercury and Neptune and Sedna. Yes, that's what it is. Okay. Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, in my Aries ingress video, I talk quite a bit about Sedna being involved with the Aries ingress, uh, also known as spring equinox chart. So it's interesting that Sedna is playing a part in this new moon with Mercury and Neptune. Yeah, Mercury and Neptune. Um, all I can really for sure say from this combination is that messages in your dreams about your job as the sacred warrior will be coming in. I know that sounds a bit dramatic, but I believe that, just pay attention. Try not to um, force it, though. So, all right. I think that is good for this because, yeah, ultimately, let's see, one of the things that I didn't mention, I think that this is great to close with actually, that Aries, the archetype of Aries, is really about having something worth dying for. And, that really puts identity, self-identity, and purpose, and all of these other things really into perspective. That Aries wants to be passionate, so passionate about something that it can believe it's worth dying for. And that, is very noble. It's heroic. And that is the archetype of Aries. It's like the hero or the fool embarking out on a new journey. And so this new moon really does make me think about that, especially the hero, the fool is one and the same. Embarking out on a new journey that is a spiritual journey, but also a very physical journey, also. And the message, the idea, even the idea to go on this journey comes from Neptune, comes from a dream. So it's very, very, very potent time right now. And I really tried not to sensationalize it too much because it is really dramatic, all of this energy right here. And I know a lot of astrologers are going crazy with this information, but my specialty, my gift is pulling it down from the stars and grounding it so that we can all take actual steps forward on our journey, whatever that is. And so, yeah, if you are feeling these energies and are needing some help deciphering what it is that this new journey is asking you to embark on, this what kind of courage you're gathering and what um, aspect of life this is affecting. I'm here for personal readings, obviously. So, and I have put my website here in this spot so that people can see where to find me. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with me again. And this Aries new moon is really, it's intense. We'll just say it's going to be intense. But don't forget to look out for that opportunity, the new, something shiny and new coming in through a dream, probably. And it is your soul speaking to you. It is. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing this and thanks again for hanging out. And I always have so much fun going over these new moons and full moons. Um, yeah, and I'll see you next time for the next full moon. Ooh. All right, bye.